What the heck are we in? Oh, that's right. We're in the Mustang.
The Mustang Mach-E.
The Mach-E GT. We've driven the standard Mach-E. We liked it actually quite a bit. We drove that in Boulder. We're all the way in Denver. Ooh, big difference. Driving the GT, which is the more performance, now with more power supermodel.
Although this isn't the performance edition.
That's true.
It's still $64,000,
Yes.
and it is not the performance edition, which is the one you want because you get Magna Ride.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive.
TV, web, and podcast. This is Everyday Driver.
This
Key
is
point.
almost the place to start because this is the standout issue that both Todd and I are feeling on this one that is a bit of a deal breaker.
Yeah, the thing that was interesting is when we drove the original Mach-E, one of the things I was actually very surprised by was how good the ride was. Now, that was not the GT, it was the standard Mach-E. And I actually really liked the ride, and I called it out as a better ride than the Tesla Model Y.
Yes.
The bumps and the brakes and the pavement
was
and all
good.
that, it was actually okay. This is too much. It's way too stiff. It's not comfortable most of the time. And if the original model had had this ride, the Model Y would have ridden better.
Which is a crazy thought, but then when Todd was in the back seat, you were being beat up and thrown around.
Yes.
And unless it's just you in the vehicle driving, well, sure, you kind of get after it and you're doing sporty driving, then it's okay, but still, there's some bumps that you're just going,
It's too aggressive for how you're probably going to use this thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to track this. Who are we kidding? Now,
even though it has a track enablement feature,
yes.
you can when you go into brown pony mode. Let's see. Are we in
Unbridled.
Are we in unbridled?
We're fully unbridled.
Yeah. Right here, unbridled extend mode down here, and it gives you a disclaimer that says it's for track use only, not for public roads. When would you be tracking this? And if you took it to the track, everybody would be intrigued and then probably laugh you off the planet because this is not a track car.
No, I mean, it would probably surprise you with what it's capable of, but I can't believe it even has that mode. The big thing, though, is you need that adaptable suspension. That Magna Ride is necessary.
Yes.
And I'm kind of surprised that here we are at almost $64,000, and what we're instantly saying is you need to spend the more to get the performance version, get adjustable suspension, because I don't think the way you're going to generally use your electric vehicle, this ride's not going to feel like it's right.
That's true.
If you were buying your electric vehicle, your electric SUV no less, in spite of the Mustang name, for I'm going to drive canyons, well, you wouldn't. But if you did that, then this suspension's probably fine.
Right.
But we have had all kinds of seams in the pavement and potholes and weird stuff that is just the reality of a downtown area. And as we drive it, we just keep thinking, wow, this is just stiff and uncomfortable.
Isn't that the case with every electric vehicle from here on out, though? I feel like all the features and all the actual things that you want are going to be way out front in price. You're going to be paying a lot. See, train tracks like that, it's just not a good in-town ride. But I suppose that's not why you bought this.
Probably
you bought
not,
it because it was the GT, and it had more power, and you want to go faster, and it's now the dual motor, so it's all-wheel drive at this point, which is great. And in traffic, I was dicing my way through traffic. But 480 horsepower, 600 pound-feet of torque, and when you do step up to the performance version, it keeps the horsepower the same, but then you get 634 pound-feet of torque. So even more torque, but then you get the Magna Ride.
You do. Apparently I'm stopping here.
Come on through, folks.
Yeah, this isn't really a crosswalk, but I'm going to stop here
really
on
not,
the green because this is what... folks,
it's
this
herd
is like
mentality.
Basic light understanding has completely failed us here in Denver all of a sudden.
There is a benefit for stepping up, and it's $5,000 more. That's not too bad of a price to pay.
Once you're paying $65,000, $5,000 is not a massive jump as it would be if you were at $30,000 for sure. My big struggle though is I think about how this is going to be used, and I really wonder why the GT and the performance is even necessary at all.
And save it for just the regular Mustang original brand.
The normal Mach-E is good, actually really quick. This is a second faster than the standard Mach-E, 0 to 60. It may even be 2 seconds faster. It's faster because this is under 4. And I forget the stat on the original one right now. This is under 4 seconds 0 to 60, which
quick.
is flying fast. But it's fast because it's electric, and ultimately what you need this to be is usable, easy to charge, easy to work with, and a decent ride and interface. The interface is still great. We liked it on the first version. Everything about the usability of this is still excellent.
It
Except
is,
the ride is worse, and oh look, it goes faster. I bought the family hauler is now electric. Performance is not the point.
Exactly. Well, you know, every SUV has a sport button.
Yes.
You have to have a sport button, and you have to have paddles. Pre-collision assist. That was a little late on the uptake there, I think.
And I wasn't close either. But okay, whatever.
Well, so every SUV having a sport version, this is essentially the sport button version of that, but you need to go the Sport Plus, actually the performance version, to get what you want. But even then, I don't think this looks like a $70,000 vehicle. We're all going to have to completely recalibrate our brains to accept that electric cars, the way you want them, are going to be far more expensive than you think, and it's not going to look like the price you paid. This looks like 40 grand to me.
Yeah,
Great that it has this performance. This is too much money. It doesn't look like, and what most people think 70 grand looks like. It's got to be amazing looking, elegant, beautiful.
That
white doesn't help. Even pearl white doesn't help.
That suggests some sort of level of luxury car at $70,000.
Does it not?
It does. The acceleration offered by electric cars, that's just universal here. And that base version is still plenty fast because it does the electric thing, not for any other reason. Here we go.
Yeah, see? Great for traffic.
Yep.
Excellent for getting around traffic.
Completely. Stay there.
See, you've surprised somebody.
Yeah, I have. But the big controversy continues to be Ford made a Mustang SUV, but I lean into the SUV part and go, okay, if we're doing that, then let's do the stuff it needs to do.
And it does. It does.
I'll go to the point you made earlier, though. Is this a $70,000 ride?
No, not to my eye.
This is a $25,000 ride. This is you bought a WRX. You know what I mean? You bought a WRX because it's got a really stiff ride that I want to be hardcore, and that's what you bought. But in this package, with what this is going to get used for, that's a disconnect.
Okay, but Mercedes AMG SUVs get bought for the same reason.
Sure, for sure.
Yes, the families will buy the AMG 53, the 63S, and they're spectacular. And they're even more money. They're twice the price of this.
Yeah.
But it looks like it, and it feels like it, and you get the amenities for that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I still like this interior better than most of the, what I would say are the entry-level electric cars, which still means you're spending at least 50 grand.
Right.
I still like this interior better than a lot of those because it feels like an actual interior, not just, blankness.
But when you get an electric car, not only do I not think the styling says 70 grand, I don't think the interior at this level does either.
Agreed.
And where Ford has brought us now is this giant tablet in the interior, and it works for now. It seems like this is the way to go, and Mercedes and other car manufacturers are proving you don't have to just screw a tablet to the dash.
True.
To make this the future electric car with just clean lines. I want to see the second generation of this. That will be revised styling. Proportions will probably be the same, but a different interior, and it's going to feel a little bit more normal rather than just feel so future-y and iPad-ish. Nevertheless, this is where we're at now, and it's excellent if you're interested in things electric cars that don't start with the letter T.
True.
This is an excellent choice, and we loved how the first one drove against the Volkswagen ID4 and the Tesla Model Y.
Yep.
I got in this, and I thought, great, this is an excellent choice. It's engaging, it's fun, I love the materials. We've got a little bit different interior combination here, so we've got the orange stitching, more copper colored. For a $40,000 price point, that's where I think this lives.
And that is the struggle, you're right.
But because Ford has looked at Tesla as the benchmark for the interiors, Tesla interiors were always $40,000 interiors. Ford hasn't taken it further into Fordland, into what they're going to do. So therefore, it still feels like a $40,000 interior. It feels like by copying Tesla, they got the same result.
Maybe. I think they did better than that, but I also don't know that I think even Teslas are a $40,000 interior. This is a much more inviting interior than the Teslas are.
Yep.
Anytime I drive the Mach-E, I'm struck by the fact that they just did it well.
Yes.
Ford did a great job. There's good room. This is a nice place to be. The interface, while it isn't as good as Tesla's interface, they did a great job. For V1, I can't believe how good the interface is. This is simple to drive. We talked about it on our comparison as well. It's not pushing you away because you haven't been in an electric car before. If this is your first electric car, it's going to feel very inviting and easy to use. If you're a person that's used electric cars, it's still easy. It still does all the things you expect. The regen braking is not as good as Tesla, and I think you can change how much regen braking one pedal there is. I feel like the one pedal on this one is more aggressive than it was in the one we had prior. I kept leaving it on.
It's off here.
I kept leaving it on the one we had prior, and on this one I've turned it off because it felt like it was too much. The
propulsion sound on. Now we're gonna
hear digital V8.
Digital V8, baby.
Not really.
Not really.
Kind of.
It's light. It's very light. The space usage in here is still excellent.
That's the nice thing about electrics. And then you've got a front and you've got a big hatch, for sure.
It's impressive. And as your first electric, as you said, this is a great choice because it is between car and SUV. It's not quite all the way to SUV in my mind yet. I've lived with this now. We've all seen them around, and I think it's starting to look pretty good. The styling and the way they've used their designer tricks to hide the rear headroom, and the rockers, the doors even. I still don't like the door handles, but nevertheless, I think this is a great way to step up from car into almost SUV, but still kind of has that natural car feel to it.
I think it's very impressive, and the driving is really good. I still question whether or not they couldn't have called it anything else than Mustang. They had other things in the lineup that they could have called it, but would we all be talking about it as much if it wasn't called a Mustang?
It's true.
That remains the big question here. I will also say $70,000, almost.
Yeah.
There's no sunroof, no moonroof, no nothing.
Yeah.
That is a bit of a surprise.
Just roof.
There's just roof.
Hey.
So now, if you're thinking sports car, you wouldn't want that. But again, are we thinking sports car here? I don't think we are.
No, but there needs to be a GT flavor of everything.
I guess.
That's the Mustang way. If this weren't a Mustang, I don't think there'd be a GT. I think it would just be electric SUV thingy.
Yep. Which version did you buy?
Pretty
Lower
much.
trim or upper trim?
Pretty much.
And C. All right, your turn.
Oh yeah, the handles. Reverse. I'll just dial up some unbridledness. Still think it's brown pony mode.
It is brown pony mode.
The screen turns brown.
It shouldn't be brown. Brown is a bad accent for sport.
It's
a bad
not copper,
accent
it's
for sport.
brown.
It is, yes.
For autonomous driving, every car company will approach the decision making. Does it hit this? Does it avoid this? What does the code stack look like?
Yeah.
And Ford is no different. So what they've come up with is Blue Cruise, and this does have it. You can see right above the steering wheel here, this is the eye tracking movement to show that somebody's still sitting in the seat.
You're at least conscious.
This probably was devised because of YouTube, because of people filming themselves in the back seat. And
theoretically, yes.
Therefore, we get this. But part of Blue Cruise is Ford mapping, to this point, about 130,000 miles of road. And if you're in the Blue Cruise zone, your car will do great. That continues, but that's just for Fords. So it's almost, at this point, like Apple. Everybody who owns an iPhone is in the Apple ecosystem. Everything about it. You use the same apps.
Yeah.
Now Ford's got the Blue Cruise and the Blue Cruise zones, so any future Fords that you buy with this technology will be in the zone. You'll be in that ecosystem.
Sure.
I'm going to go now. Okay, holy dangerous intersection.
Yep, for sure.
At least we're in a GT so we can have that initial punch.
That electric power is happening.
Yeah. See, that's where the electric thing shines for me, is city driving.
Yeah, for sure. That's where it's at its best, is city driving.
It's stoplights like this. You want to merge into traffic, and by the way, when you're merging, kick it.
Yeah.
That's full power right there.
Hey,
see, surprise the BMW.
Uh-huh.
Didn't know I got that kind of acceleration.
Yep.
Oh, and we've got the brown pony sound, too, to go with it.
The brown pony sound. Shouldn't that be more of like a whinny or a neigh?
I suppose so, but it's kind of angry when you're in full throttle acceleration.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
But the base one was fast. That's the electric reality. I don't know that the speed that you gained here is necessary speed for the trade-off of the ride.
Yeah. But you're wondering, how does it drive? There's still...
Bumpy.
Bumpy.
Sorry.
That's how it rides.
Sorry, you're right.
The turn-in is still good. There's a bit of a tight feel upon turn-in, which is good. And I'm reminded, we liked that first one. We rated it better than the ID4, which wasn't hard, and the Tesla. But there's still a good turn-in. There's, for sweepers...
Body control is excellent here.
It really
it's really
is.
Very good, yes.
So in that sense, I still feel like it maintains the Mustang heritage. I think it's worthy of that.
Okay.
Like right there, it's not the most, but then there's also a point where you don't want to have this on track or a canyon road. This is not the thing to get after it.
No.
But it's just a little bit. It's just enough for most people to buy this and really enjoy it and think, yeah, I'm enjoying a Mustang. That's what Mustangs feel like.
The Mach-E, for me, has certainly been on my short list of if I were buying an electric car,
yeah.
or I were considering something in the market segment. In this case, 5-seat SUV. Would I consider the Mach-E? Yes.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, not even like I'm ready for an electric. Now you do have to figure out if an electric works for your life. You're going to need a charger. You're going to have to change the way you commute.
Yeah.
But if I were shopping 5-seat SUV and I had any interest in the Mach-E, I would put it very close to the top of the list because it's worth it. I just don't know that I would spend the extra money for the GT.
Yeah, we're experiencing the most charge we've had on this trip. And when we drove the other one, it was colder temperatures, and we got, 150 miles at full charge?
Yes.
We haven't had this fully charged. Ford claims 280 miles range, so temperature and how you drive still affects it. So driving this and driving it aggressively, has your anxiety gone away? Has it diminished at all, or are you still a little bit like on the edge?
In what regard?
Just about range. Just general range.
Because
we haven't had a full charge.
We've never had a full charge.
You know, you've got that good feeling.
But luckily, this one seems to have taken a charge better than we expected it to. It actually seems like we've had it at the same time we had another electric car. They weren't in comparison to each other, so that's why we're not talking about it. But we happen to have to charge both of them, and this one's just seemed to accept a charge easier. I know that sounds weird to say, but it just felt like that. The whole thing I've always said about charging is just the reality of how do I get it back. I'm not that worried about range. I'm worried about getting my range back.
Yeah.
And this, if you had a charger at your office or you had a charger at home, you can use it very normally. The struggle is still finding a good charge network randomly.
Time to leave the
You're
Altima.
gone. You're gone.
Ooh, there's a little turbo whistle. Did you hear that?
The digital V8 is here in force. Yep.
Well, that's exciting. Bump. Don't have your head near anything when you go over bumps in this thing.
Yeah, true.
You need the Magna ride. That's the takeaways. Okay, sure, you like the Mach-E, get the GT. Sure,
If
you
you
can
want
afford
the
it,
GT, yeah, I think I'd
any
just get
electric
the standard
car.
one. I think I'd be very happy in a 5-seat standard Mach-E, and that would be the play. As the family do-it-all runabout, that's the play.
See, at this point, manufacturers have to get their electric offerings out onto the market, and all of them have to do sporty performance things.
Yeah.
There's no yet differentiator between family haulers, trucks, here's the sports cars. We've almost covered. We're like 2/3 of the way there, but the sports cars still haven't appeared.
Well, I think part of that problem is the fact that we haven't embraced that all electric cars will be fast in a general headspace yet. Let's just accept that they will all be quick, and then let's make them good for what's necessary. But the bigger thing, though, is let's bring the cost down.
Yeah.
Because all the electrics that you and I have driven that we've liked have been over 50 grand.
That's a good point.
And we need good electrics. If we're going to really go this way, we need good electrics that are 25. And they're still going to feel fast because they're electric.
Because they're electric, yeah. 25, 30 tops.
Yep.
I've completely come around on styling. These wheels are not my favorite, nor is the white paint.
These wheels aren't good. And
you
the
can
and
choose
white,
differently.
anything but white. Yes.
Anything but white. Still, the coolest part is Rockstar parking.
Yes.
Wherever you go.
Wherever you go, you get recharge parking.
Exactly right.